In preparation for my day trip to Mystery Island and doing the Keamu Village cultural excursion, I made sure I had everything packed in my bag, cash because that's what's accepted on the islands, a power pack, some cords just in case some rain. I have a poncho. Most important thing for an excursion is making sure that you have your excursion ticket and make sure you're in the right location and meeting point to begin the excursion. After arriving at Mystery Island, you catch a tender over to Mystery Island and then you get a smaller boat back over to the mainland, which is called Aneityum. A tender transfer is always a fabulous time to get some wonderful footage of the wonderful Carnival Splendor. The Pacific Island winter weather was treating us absolutely perfectly on this August day. And there's nothing better than heading over to Mystery Island, which was my first island on any of my cruises on the Fair Star, the fun ship. But today I am on Carnival Splendor. After leaving the tender, you walk along the dock area where you are greeted by locals singing, and there is the excursion meeting area. And once you've presented your ticket, they will just tell you what time they want you back as your group gets its little sticker, and then you just wait to move over onto the boat that is required to take you over to the mainland, Aneityum. Everybody bringing their snorkels and their pool noodles and floaties. It was absolutely fabulous day. So we head over to our waiting boat to transfer us over to the mainland, Aneityum. Getting to know the locals and waving at other tenders as they are coming into Mystery Island. After arriving at Aneityum, we walked for about 10 minutes along an unsealed pathway to the site that we were going to be introduced to the chief and have the different cultural aspects of the island life explained to us. It was a very easy walk, but a very uneven surface. And as I say, it wasn't a sealed path at all, so there were roots and mud piles and mud puddles, etc., to negotiate around. But it was a beautiful walk on this tropical island. There was roosters and chickens, and we could hear pigs in some of the yards.
Come in peace. Come in peace. We come in peace.
One of our party was designated the leader, and he had this special plant that when he was approached by the chief, he had to say, "We come in peace," and then the chief moved a piece of palm that was tied a specific way, which means don't enter or don't touch, away, and invited us into this cultural area. Over the next 20 minutes or so, this gorgeous lady and her wonderful little baby were making a basket, and then the guide was explaining to us about the different ways that coconut is used for sections are used for fishing line, other sections of the husk are used to wrap seeds, and then they are hung over a fire to keep them safe. Different parts of the tree are made into walking sticks and trays. Of course, the coconut itself is used as a food source, and over this period of time, the tribesmen demonstrated how they take the husk off and how they crack the nut, both the young nut that has the water in it and the older nut that has been dried up and is more just straight meat. The leaves of the coconut tree are woven into different things like baskets and plates and children's toys and decorations, etc.
Put the fruits and anything in it. And with the fronds, I do not lots of coconut fronds and use a spoon to sweep the floor or to chase away flies. This one, coconut fiber. Some are green, some are yellow, some orange. When they still green or yellow, orange, on top of the tree, we can use to trim the juice very use a lot of a fire with this pot. Use a lot of a fire with that pot, and with this pointy pot, we collect and pile them up 4 or 5 or 6 like this. Take the ends in small sizes, just like this, fasten up, and we use also as a torch. Light them up on the fire. The push, we turn it to carry as our rakes. We just collect this from coconut tree. After 4 to 5 months in the ground, we start to germinate. That's how we remove coconut husk. And also with this the pot, if we want to preserve our seedlings ready for the next planting season, we can small pieces and we place our seedlings, wrap them up together, fasten up like these 2 hanging up here. And we hang at the fireplace for the smoke to push away insects. We can light them up in a flat stone. Again.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Okay. Don't do that.
No, coconut flesh, we use coconut fiber as a strainer and we squeeze.
Oh wow.
And we're going to see the difference between the dried one that we've just show you and the germinated one. So we're going to see the difference between the dried one and the germinated one. So, when anyone guessed what's the name of this plant? Did you ever heard about pendanus? When it becomes a big tree, the leaves will become bigger and longer. So, one small one. The toys for the kids. Any more other things that ladies can use from pendanus leaves.
The next section we moved over and the guide explained to us about how the chief is the head of the family, and when he passes away, the chief role will go to his son. They explain that there is no real currency, so if there is a need for exchange of money, that the items such as mats and chickens and pigs, etc., would be used in a gift or barter system. Then this tribesman demonstrated to us how to make fire if we didn't have a match. And this is the way that if they were out in the forest and that they needed to cook their food, they could easily do that.
You see the smoke.
Ooh.
It's a very long process, but we must do it. Otherwise, we can't eat in the bush if we don't have much with us. So we must make sure that then we use that's how we get the fire started. And we can cook our food.
Then we moved over to the third section of our cultural display, where the guide explained to us about how the tribe does fishing, where they would get some palm leaves and lash them together and strip them in such a way that they would act as a fishing trap. So when the men found a large enough rock pool during the high tide that had a lot of fish in it, they would place these palm leaves weighted down with rocks in such a fashion that when the tide went out, it would trap the fish in the rock pool. Then the fishermen would come along with their spears and collect only enough food that was going to be required. Unwanted things like sharks and stingrays, etc., would be just left there, and they would be returned as fish food when the next high tide came along, part of sustainable fishing.
In the sea. If they found a perfect pool in the sea, they do this when it's still high tide. When the fish are feasting in that pool, the boys will pull the long chain of coconut leaves all around that pool. All around that pool. And when the fish are feasting that pool, when they know that it starts to go back to the ocean again, when they want to go over the net, in the sea, the phone should be standing like this in the sea, and the wave will wave the leaves like this to and fro, and it has a sound in the sea, and it will be scares the fish, and all the fish can go over the net. They get stuck in the pool. When it dried up, all the fish are still lying on the reef. It's like a shell. It's a picture of fish. All the fish lying on the reef, including turtles and sharks too are caught in that net.
And at the final station, where the ladies were cooking the cassava root and grating it and putting it into banana leaves and cooking it over rocks, called a lap, the guide explained to us how after a cyclone, any of the fruit, the breadfruit and banana that is dropped onto the ground is actually salvaged. They get all of the flesh of the bananas, for example, and scrape it together and put it into this special design of a reservoir, a cone shape of coconut leaves. And so with the bed of coconut leaves, then all the banana flesh, more coconut leaves, and then rocks on top. They reckon that this can sustain for at least 10 years, and in times of drought, any of this banana flesh or breadfruit flesh can be reconstituted with coconut water and have enough nutrients in it to sustain. But he reckons that it's actually vile smelling, and he does actually show us, and it is pretty disgusting. One of the primary things I'm going to come away with today is that this tribal lifestyle is self-sufficient, it is eco-friendly, it is always considering the rejuvenation of the plants and the environment. It's sustainable living. That is a role model for the modern world. It is subsistence living with no excesses.
Well, very disgusting, but if you wanna have a smell, it smells very disgusting. Oh, yeah, that's a manioc. So we remove, we use palm tree hand. We scrape off manioc flesh like she's doing. First of all, you must light them up a fire. Yeah. Like here. Coconut fiber as a strainer. We remove the coconut milk. So you put the coconut milk on top of the leaf. After covered milk with the leaf from the fire, hot stone, and we put a lap on top of the other hot stone. And
we actually had no confidence that the chicken trap was going to work, but the guide demonstrated to us how effective and efficient a chicken trap really is.
when they ended the pyramid, we just pulled.
And as a farewell, the tribes people sang us a song. Everybody on the excursion said that they had a really good time. All the information was really interesting, and the flow and the pace of the demonstrations went really quite smoothly. So I would highly recommend the Keamu cultural experience on Mystery Island. This is Julie, Jules Cruise Companion, saying stay safe everybody and happy travels.